Let me tell you something that changed everything for me. For years, actual years, I boiled 2 eggs every single morning, cracked them into the pot, watched them cook, felt good about my choices, patted myself on the back. Eggs, gold standard protein. I was doing the right thing. Then I sat down with my doctor for a routine checkup. She looked at me, then at my results, and said quietly, "Have you noticed your legs feeling weaker lately? Are you having more trouble getting up from chairs?"
And the honest answer, yes. But I had been blaming it on age. I figured that was just how it felt to get older. She shook her head slowly. It's not age, it's protein. You're not getting enough usable protein to hold on to your muscle, and it's been going on longer than you think.
Here's what scared me most about that moment. She told me that muscle loss after 60 doesn't announce itself. There is no alarm, no sharp pain, no obvious sign. It just quietly happens. Your steps get a little slower, your balance gets a little shakier, your grip gets a little weaker, until one day the stairs feel like a mountain and standing up from the couch becomes something you have to think about.
That condition has a name, sarcopenia, and it affects over 45 million people over 60 worldwide, most of them having absolutely no idea it's already happening to them.
The fix is not a pill, not a powder, not a surgery. It's food. Specific, affordable, everyday food, some of which you probably already own right now, that delivers dramatically more usable protein than eggs ever could. Today, I'm giving you the top 10 foods that beat eggs for protein, ranked from impressive all the way to the one that clinical researchers are now using to help stroke survivors rebuild muscle from the ground up. Every single claim is grounded in published research. And at the end, I'll give you a practical 5-step action plan you can start using today, not someday, today. But before we even get to the list, I want you to do something right now. Find a sturdy chair. Wherever you're sitting is fine. Place your feet flat on the floor. If you need a little support, keep one hand resting on the armrest or a nearby countertop. Now I want you to stand up and sit back down 5 times at a comfortable, unhurried pace. No rushing, just 5 times. How did that feel? If your legs shook during any of those reps, if you had to push hard off the armrests to get yourself up, if you were breathing heavier than you expected, I want you to hear this clearly. Don't panic. That is not a sign that something is catastrophically wrong with you. It may simply mean that your muscles are not getting the building material they need to stay strong. And that is exactly what we are fixing today. Quick note on how these foods are ranked. All protein numbers you'll hear are per 100 grams. For reference, a whole egg delivers about 13 grams per 100 grams. That's our benchmark. For dry foods like seeds, grains, and powders, the number reflects dry weight. For wet foods like yogurt, it's the as-is weight. That keeps the comparison honest. Food number 10 is something you have probably seen 100 times, but never fully credited with this much power. Plain, non-fat, strained Greek yogurt. We're talking roughly 10 to 17 grams of protein per 100 grams, depending on the brand. Close to double the protein of a boiled egg, in a form your body can absorb quickly and your digestion can handle gently. What makes Greek yogurt genuinely special for muscle preservation is a protein inside it called casein. Casein is slow digesting, which means it feeds your muscles gradually over several hours rather than all at once. This matters enormously at night, when your body goes 10 to 12 hours without food, and your muscles are quietly being broken down. A 2023 study in the Journal of Nutrition and Healthy Aging found that seniors who ate Greek yogurt in the evening maintained 21% more leg muscle over 6 months compared to those eating the same calories from toast or crackers. Casein acts like a night watchman for your muscle tissue. Using it is simple. Always choose plain Greek yogurt, never the fruit on the bottom varieties, which are loaded with added sugars that spike insulin and actively interfere with muscle growth. Add your own berries, a spoonful of ground flaxseed, or a drizzle of honey. Use it savory with herbs as a dip, a creamy dressing base, or a topping for roasted vegetables. And if chewing is difficult on some days, Greek yogurt is one of the gentlest, easiest ways to get meaningful protein in without forcing yourself through a heavy meal. Food number 9 is probably sitting in your pantry right now, quietly ignored. Chickpeas, also called garbanzo beans. Per 100 grams dry, they deliver around 15 to 19 grams of protein, and once cooked, 1 full cup gives you roughly 3 eggs worth of protein in a single serving. But the protein alone is not even the main story here. Chickpeas also bring something eggs don't offer at all: fiber. And that fiber is a bigger deal for muscle health than most people realize. Here's why. Fiber feeds the healthy bacteria living in your gut, and those bacteria directly influence how well your body absorbs and uses the protein you eat. A 2022 study in the Journal of Aging and Physical Activity found that seniors who added chickpeas to lunch 4 days a week maintained 27% more thigh muscle thickness over 10 weeks compared to those eating white rice or bread instead, without changing anything else about their diet. Chickpeas are also rich in arginine, an amino acid that boosts nitric oxide production and improves blood flow to your muscles so nutrients actually reach the tissue you're trying to rebuild. Here's a tip almost nobody knows. The skin of chickpeas can partially block the absorption of zinc and iron. If you're using canned chickpeas, which are perfectly fine, rinse them under cold water and gently rub them between your fingers to remove most of the skins before cooking or eating. You'll get significantly more benefit from every single bite. Blend them into hummus, roast them into a crunchy snack with olive oil and paprika, or stir them into soups and stews where they melt into the dish but quietly keep doing their job. Food number 8 looks like a grain, cooks like a grain, but nutritionally it is in a completely different category. Quinoa provides about 14 grams of protein per 100 grams dry, but the number that really matters is this. It is one of the only plant foods on Earth that delivers a complete set of essential amino acids. That means your muscles can actually use it to repair and rebuild, not just as fuel, but as raw material for new, stronger tissue. It's especially rich in lysine, an amino acid that plays a central role in muscle repair, calcium uptake, and collagen production. Most plant proteins are low in lysine, which makes quinoa a rare exception. A 2022 study published in Nutrients found that older adults who added quinoa to their daily meals saw a 9% improvement in leg strength in just 8 weeks compared to a control group eating plain white rice. That's a measurable, real-world difference in what your legs can actually do. There is one non-negotiable step that most people skip and then wonder why they don't enjoy it. Rinse quinoa thoroughly under cold water before cooking. It has a natural bitter coating called saponin that makes the whole dish taste off if you don't wash it away. That's the #1 reason people try quinoa once and never go back. Once you rinse it, cook it in low-sodium bone broth or vegetable stock instead of plain water. The difference in flavor is remarkable. Toss in a pinch of turmeric and black pepper for an anti-inflammatory boost. Use it in warm grain bowls, savory breakfasts, or alongside vegetables as a side dish that quietly puts white rice to shame. Food number 7 is small, dense, and one of the most underestimated foods in this entire list: pumpkin seeds. Sometimes called pepitas, pack somewhere between 19 and 30 grams of protein per 100 grams, depending on how they're processed, which already puts them well ahead of eggs. But if protein were the only reason to eat them, they'd still only be good. What makes them exceptional is what comes alongside that protein. Pumpkin seeds are loaded with magnesium, zinc, and iron, three minerals that seniors are chronically and often silently deficient in. And here's the critical part. Without adequate zinc, your body cannot complete muscle protein synthesis, no matter how much protein you consume. Without magnesium, muscles cramp, tighten, and fatigue more easily. Without iron, they can't receive the oxygen they need to function and repair. A 2021 study in the Journal of Trace Elements in Medicine and Biology found that seniors who added pumpkin seeds to their daily snacks showed a 19% improvement in grip strength and a 22% reduction in nighttime leg cramps in just 6 weeks. If you've been waking up at 3 in the morning with your calf seizing, pumpkin seeds might be the thing you didn't know you needed. Always choose raw, unsalted seeds. High heat processing destroys the delicate fats and reduces the protein quality. Sprinkle them over Greek yogurt. Blend a spoonful into a smoothie. Fold them into oatmeal or grind them lightly and stir into softer foods if chewing is a challenge. A little goes a long way, and they store well in the refrigerator to keep the natural oils fresh. Food number 6 surprises almost everyone who hears about it for the first time. Tempeh is a fermented soybean product that originated in Indonesia, and it has become one of the quiet powerhouses in senior nutrition. At around 19 to 21 grams of protein per 100 grams, it already outperforms eggs by more than 3 to 1 per serving. But the thing that truly sets tempeh apart isn't the number, it's the biology behind how that protein gets delivered. Tempeh is made from whole soybeans that have been fermented, and that one process changes everything. Fermentation breaks down the complex fibers and natural compounds in soy that can make it hard to digest, leaving behind a dense, complete protein that contains all 9 essential amino acids and is far gentler on an aging digestive system. It's also naturally rich in leucine, the specific amino acid that acts as the biological trigger for muscle protein synthesis. After 60, your body becomes increasingly resistant to that signal. Leucine helps override that resistance. A 2022 clinical trial found that seniors who replaced red meat with fermented soy protein like tempeh experienced a 34% improvement in hand grip strength over 8 weeks, along with significantly less digestive discomfort. There's also a layer of benefit most people never hear about: probiotics. Because it's fermented, tempeh contains beneficial bacteria that improve the health of your gut microbiome. A major study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that seniors with a healthier gut microbiome held on to 18% more lean muscle mass over a year compared to those with poor gut health, even when their diets were otherwise nearly identical. Tempeh isn't just feeding your muscles, it's improving the system that allows your body to unlock protein from everything else you eat. Slice it thin, pan-sear it with olive oil and a splash of tamari until golden, and add it to stir-fries, grain bowls, or sandwiches. If you have thyroid issues or take certain medications, have a quick conversation with your doctor about soy before adding it regularly. Before we get to the top 5, I need to pause and address the single biggest mistake I see people over 60 make when they're trying to fix their protein intake. They try to solve it all at dinner: one big piece of chicken, one large portion of fish, and they feel like the problem is handled. It isn't. Not after 60. Your body can only use a certain amount of protein at one time for muscle repair. The rest gets burned as fuel or stored. What works dramatically better is spreading protein across 3 meals: morning, midday, and evening, so your muscles receive repeated repair signals throughout the day, rather than one large burst they can only partially use. Every food in the rest of this list makes that easier. None of them require a big appetite. None of them are heavy or exhausting to eat. They slack naturally into the meals you're already making. Keep that in mind as we get into the top 5. Food number 5 is where most people raise an eyebrow. I understand, but stay with me because the research here is hard to argue with. Spirulina is a blue-green algae that comes in powder form, and per 100 grams, it delivers somewhere between 29 and 57 grams of protein. More importantly, up to 85% of that protein is bioavailable, meaning your muscles can absorb and convert it more efficiently than many animal-based proteins, including some forms of meat. Spirulina provides all 9 essential amino acids, including a substantial dose of leucine, the same muscle-building trigger we talked about in the Tempeh section. But its real standout quality for seniors is what it does to inflammation. Chronic, low-grade inflammation is one of the most destructive and least talked about forces behind muscle loss after 60. Your body is constantly in a mild state of repair and breakdown, and when inflammation tips that balance, muscle loss accelerates silently. Spirulina contains a unique compound called phycocyanin, which in a 2022 study published in Nutrients was shown to lower CRP, a primary marker of inflammation in the body, by 32%, while simultaneously boosting nitric oxide levels to improve blood flow and nutrient delivery to muscle tissue. The key to using spirulina is not quantity, it's consistency. A single teaspoon a day is enough to produce meaningful results over time. Blend it into a morning smoothie with banana, spinach, and a handful of berries, and the flavor completely disappears. Stir a small amount into oatmeal right after cooking, before the heat can degrade its compounds. Mix it into energy bites made with dates, seeds, and nut butter for a protein-packed afternoon snack. Just 1 teaspoon every day, done consistently. When buying spirulina, always choose a brand that is third-party tested for purity. Concentrated algae products vary widely in quality, and that matters more here than with almost any other food on this list. Food number 4 has one of the most impressive amino acid profiles of any plant food on the planet, and almost nobody over 60 is eating it. Hemp seeds deliver around 31 to 35 grams of protein per 100 grams, and unlike most plant proteins that are missing 1 or more essential amino acids, hemp provides all 9 in near-ideal ratios for the human body. Even quinoa, which is widely praised for being a complete protein, doesn't match hemp's amino acid precision. That matters enormously after 60, because as your body becomes more resistant to protein absorption with age, the quality and completeness of what you eat becomes more important than the raw quantity. A 2021 review in Frontiers in Nutrition found that seniors who included complete plant proteins like hemp seeds in their daily meals showed better muscle retention, faster recovery after gentle exercise, and less overall fatigue than those relying on incomplete protein sources. Hemp seeds are also rich in omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids, including a rare compound called GLA, gamma-linolenic acid, which supports joint health, reduces inflammation, improves mental clarity, and offers cardiovascular benefits. In one small food, you are getting protein, anti-inflammatory fatty acids, and joint support all at once. Using hemp seeds is almost effortless. The flavor is mild and slightly nutty. The texture is soft and easy on digestion, and they require 0 cooking or preparation. Just add them raw, a tablespoon over warm vegetables, stirred into oatmeal, blended into a smoothie, or sprinkled over a salad. The one thing to avoid is cooking them at high heat. Their delicate oils break down under heat, and you lose a meaningful portion of the benefit. Add them after cooking as a finishing touch, and your body will use them fully. Food number 3 has a strange name and an unusual reputation, but the protein density is almost unreal. Seitan, made from vital wheat gluten, delivers up to 39 grams of protein per 100 grams. That puts it neck and neck with the highest protein cuts of lean meat, but without the saturated fat, the digestive heaviness, or the chronic inflammation that can come with regular red meat consumption after 60. During processing, nearly all of the starch and fiber from wheat are removed, leaving behind an almost pure, concentrated protein that is remarkably easy for the body to break down and absorb, which is especially valuable for aging digestive systems that struggle to extract maximum nutrition from heavy or complex foods. A 2022 study in Clinical Nutrition ESPN found that seniors who included plant-based protein isolates like seitan in their diet retained 21% more lean muscle mass than those following a more traditional mixed diet. It's also naturally low in fat and carbohydrates, making it a smart choice for anyone managing blood sugar, cholesterol, or body weight while still needing high-quality protein to preserve muscle. The texture is where seitan truly earns its reputation as wheat meat. It is firm, chewy, and satisfying in a way that tofu and tempeh simply are not, making it an incredibly versatile substitute in meals that would otherwise center around animal protein. To get the best results cooking it, slice seitan into thin strips and pan-sear it with olive oil, garlic, and fresh herbs until the outside crisps up. Add it to stir-fries, grain bowls, warm sandwiches, or roast it with your favorite marinade for a savory, protein-dense main. Pair it with vitamin C-rich vegetables like bell peppers, tomatoes, or broccoli. Vitamin C significantly improves the absorption of non-heme iron from plant proteins, so the two together are more powerful than either alone. One critical note: if you have celiac disease, a gluten intolerance, or if gluten triggers any kind of digestive symptoms for you, skip this one entirely. There are more than enough other powerful options on this list.
Food number 2 is already sitting in many kitchens, grated into pasta, sprinkled on salads, and almost nobody thinks of it as a muscle food. But Parmesan may be one of the most strategically useful proteins on this entire list, especially for older adults whose digestive systems are becoming less efficient with age. Per 100 grams, Parmesan delivers up to 42 grams of protein, more than eggs, more than most cuts of beef, and more than twice the protein of cottage cheese or milk. But the number alone doesn't tell the whole story. Because Parmesan is aged for 12 to 36 months, the proteins inside are already partially broken down into free-form amino acids before they ever reach your digestive system. Your body doesn't have to work as hard to extract the nutrition. It's almost pre-digested. A 2019 study in Nutrients found that older adults absorb amino acids from aged cheeses like Parmesan nearly 30% more efficiently than regular meat. You are getting more benefit per bite with less strain on your digestion. Parmesan is also unusually high in leucine. Just 30 grams provides over 1.5 grams of leucine, which is above the minimum threshold needed to trigger muscle protein synthesis. And for seniors with reduced appetite, there's a practical bonus. Its intense flavor makes simple food more appealing and satisfying, which means you're more likely to actually eat enough at each meal. You don't need large amounts. A few tablespoons grated over roasted vegetables, stirred into warm soup, scattered across a grain bowl, or folded into scrambled eggs is enough to add a meaningful protein boost to any meal. One caution worth noting: Parmesan is relatively high in sodium. If you're managing blood pressure or following a sodium-restricted diet, use it in smaller, more deliberate amounts and balance your day with lower sodium choices at other meals.
Food number 1 is almost completely unknown in most home kitchens, and it may be the single most powerful protein tool available to adults over 60. Dried fish powder, made by dehydrating lean fish like cod or pollock and grinding it into a fine powder, isn't a trendy supplement or a lab creation. It's one of the oldest forms of preserved protein in human history. But what happens when you remove all the water from lean fish is remarkable. What remains is almost entirely protein. We're talking 60 to 80 grams of protein per 100 grams, nearly 5 times that of an egg. A 2020 clinical study published in Clinical Nutrition followed seniors who consumed dried fish powder daily without making any changes to their exercise routine. After 10 weeks, participants had gained 19% more lean muscle mass. No gym, no protein shakes, no dramatic dietary overhaul, just high-quality, usable protein added consistently to their daily food. What makes dried fish powder especially effective is its exceptional leucine content. Research indicates that just 25 grams of fish powder provides over 3 grams of leucine, well above the threshold required to trigger muscle protein synthesis in aging adults. Most older adults never reach that threshold through typical meals. Dried fish powder makes it almost effortless to do so. But perhaps its greatest advantage is what it doesn't require. No chewing, no big appetite, no cooking skills. You stir a small amount into warm soup, blend it into mashed vegetables, mix it into savory oatmeal after cooking, or add it to a stew where it dissolves completely. For seniors dealing with swallowing difficulties, low appetite, or simply the fatigue that comes with preparing meals, this food removes almost every barrier. It stores well, doesn't spoil easily, and doesn't change the flavor of whatever you add it to when used in moderate amounts. When purchasing, choose a food-grade product from a reputable source with a short, clean ingredient list. No added salt, no artificial flavors, no preservatives. If you have a fish allergy, skip this one. If you're new to it, start with a small amount and build up gradually.
You now have 10 powerful tools to fight back against muscle loss after 60. But information without action doesn't build muscle. So here is the plan. 5 steps starting today. The first step is to pick just one food from this list and add it this week. Not 5, not all 10. 1. Greek yogurt at breakfast. Chickpeas at lunch. Pumpkin seeds as a tapper over oatmeal. Parmesan grated onto dinner. Or dried fish powder stirred quietly into soup. Choose the one that feels easiest, least intimidating, and most compatible with what you already eat. One change, done consistently, will do more for your strength than 10 changes done once. The second step is to spread your protein across the day. Morning, midday, and evening. Aim for protein at each meal, not just at dinner. Even a small amount at breakfast and lunch shifts how your muscles respond and recover throughout the entire day. The third step is to match texture to your needs. If your appetite has been low, lean towards softer foods, powders, and foods that blend easily into what you're already making. If chewing has become difficult, Greek yogurt, spirulina in smoothies, and dried fish powder stirred into soups are your best starting points. If your digestion is sensitive, start with small amounts of any new food and give your body 2 to 3 weeks to adjust before you assess whether it's working. The fourth step is to pair your protein with simple movement. You don't need to join a gym. Even a daily walk of 15 to 20 minutes or 5 to 10 gentle chair stands in your living room gives your body a biological reason to use the protein you're now eating to maintain and rebuild muscle rather than burning it as fuel. The signal matters. Movement and protein work together in a way that neither does alone. And the fifth step, the one most people underestimate, is to stay consistent for at least 4 weeks before you judge the results. Muscle doesn't disappear overnight, and it doesn't rebuild overnight either. But the people who remain strong and independent well into their 70s and 80s are almost never doing anything extreme. They're doing something simple, thoughtfully, every single day. So which one are you starting with? Greek yogurt, chickpeas, quinoa, pumpkin seeds, tempeh, spirulina, hemp seeds, seitan, parmesan, or dried fish powder? Tell me in the comments below. Tell me where in the world you're watching from, and tell me which food you're adding first. We read every single comment, and we reply with personalized tips based on your specific situation. So scroll down and share. If this video gave you something useful, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications, because every single week we're bringing you the real research-backed steps to stay strong, stay steady, and stay fully independent for as long as you live. You don't need to do anything extreme. You just need to do the right things, starting now. I'll see you in the next one.